education of children and adults. And I guarantee you that if you will study critical thinking and you will take the time to really take a look at what is out there with regard to this information and start to think critically, start to think, use these processes in your thought process, and you'll have some amazing changes in the way you think and the way you do things in your life. Don't be like some of these low information voters out there who, and I'm talking about the political arena, but this is every area of life. We need to look even at the Bible with critical thinking skills and discern whether or not this is truth. In which I have done this for years and years and years, not knowing the specific critical thinking skills, but I have read the Bible many, many times, and I have come to the conclusion that it is true in every aspect, both the archaeological evidence within our society, within the world bears it out. The legal and historical truths that are presented there are borne out in archaeological evidence. There are actual people that are mentioned in the Bible that actually existed and are mentioned in other texts. And these are very ancient texts. So that this whole idea of that the Bible being true or not, I'm absolutely convinced. Evidence demands a verdict, and my verdict is that it is true and it is the Word of God. So getting back to my diatribe with regard to slavery and the employment of illegal immigrants, with regard to this group of pastors and the Marriott CEO coming in to lobby the congressman, I just took a little gander at the laws relating to unlawful employment of aliens. Now, this is a federal law number 1324A, 1324A. Now, in this article I got from the USC website, and this is in their law school, or actually this came from Cornell EDU, but it's the unofficial compilation of the U.S. Code as current January 4th of 2012. So all that gobbledygook is to say this, that the unlawful employment of aliens is covered under a law that is being winked at and ignored by our elected officials and by our legal enforcement organizations, except for the people working on the border patrol. I feel so sorry for those people down there who are trying to stop the flow of illegal aliens coming into our country. And then on the other side, we tell them, come on down. We got jobs for you. You can come into the United States and we will just employ you any old way that you can find work. And pretty much anyone will employ them as long as they can give, whether they give or do not give in some cases, evidence that they have legal right to have employment within the United States. So anyway, getting back to this law, let me just read a little bit of it here, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because this is like pages and pages, but under unlawful employment of aliens, Section A, it says, making employment of unauthorized aliens unlawful. In general, it is unlawful for a person or other entity to hire or to recruit or to refer for a fee for employment in the United States an alien knowing the alien is an unauthorized alien. Okay, so that's pretty easy. And it also is unlawful to hire for employment within the United States an individual without complying with the requirements of subsection B of this section. And subsection B is the Employment Verification System, or the I-9 form. As we saw with the 7-Eleven case and the illegal immigrants that came in and were being abused because they have no legal rights, once again, slavery. With regard to that, what they found was that they were using identity fraud to comply with these I-9 requirements. And the people that brought them in knew that they were using identity fraud because they brought them in illegally into the United States. So we see this identity fraud problem happening along with this I-9. The criminality of this, and I want you to understand the scope of this, okay? We have a nation of about 320 million people here in the United States of America. We are very arguably one of the richest nations in the world. And we use, as far as consuming the resources of the world, a great percentage, much greater than many of the other countries, although China is catching up with us because they have over 1 billion people and their manufacturing and everything is just skyrocketing and taking off right now. So they are starting to rival us with regard to consumption. But what I'm saying here is we have this big country. We have quote unquote 11 million undocumented illegal aliens in the United States, which is a bunch of hooey. As far as I'm concerned, it is more like 20 million or somewhere around that area. So we're a nation of laws. At least last I heard, we were a nation of laws. And this nation of laws does not enforce this law. In fact, I know that when it does enforce it, it is basically a minor slap on the wrist. And I'll get into some of the penalties for employing illegal aliens and not actually, doing the right thing by employing these people. You know why all these illegal aliens are coming to the United States? Let me tell you. Because there's jobs here and they know people will hire them. Crooks are hiring these people. People who do not abide by our nation's laws. And this is what the President of our United States, he who I respect, I really do. And because he is our president, I pray for him because he is our president. And he is saying that, well, we should just make another way for these people to come in. He wouldn't deport his brother back to Kenya. And I'm sure this issue is near and dear to his heart. But I would say to you, Mr. President, you need to fulfill your oath of office where you said that you would uphold the laws of the United States and the Constitution of the United States, and that you need to actually do that and not rule by edict and by speech. And you're not even writing anything down. You're not even submitting anything for law so much as you are just saying, hey, I want this to be a change, and let's make it happen. Anyway, let's look at the penalties for these companies if they hire illegal aliens and they know they're doing it. First of all, the penalty shall require the person or entity to cease and desist from such violations and to pay a civil penalty in an amount of not less than $250 and not more than $2,000 for each unauthorized alien with respect to whom a violation of either such subsection occurred. Now, what this means is that they can be fined $250 to $2,000. Well, it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you're a huge corporation and you have thousands of employees who are illegal, this can really add up in a hurry. Now, if you ignore this penalty, then you can be fined up to $5,000 for each alien. And if you ignore it more than twice, you can be fined up to $10,000 for each alien. Now, remember when one of my previous shows I was talking about the money made off of each employee by corporations, and what that said in there was that the Fortune 500 companies make about $430,000 per employee. And that's a pretty good number. I mean, if I had a business and I could pay somebody, $60,000 to $100,000, make $430,000 off them in a year, I would do that all day long. Well, let's just say that the types of businesses that employ illegal aliens make a lot less than that. Let's say they make $100,000 per employee, and they pay them, minimum wage or less? And oh, by the way, this isn't taxed because it's all under the table. Those of you in Washington who are trying to make this happen, and just a little note you might want to take a note of. And I did a calculation as to how much tax money is being lost through these endeavors. But getting back to what I was saying, if each illegal alien makes $100,000 for the corporation, would a $250 to $2,000 fine bother me much? No, I'm thinking not. So this law is pretty much ineffective, and it needs to be changed to have a little bit more bite in it. And the other this is really saddening as far as my part, from what I'm seeing. The really sad part about this is that our police organizations, our federal, state, and local police organizations, for the most part, I'm not saying everyone in the country, because I know in Arizona they're enforcing these laws, but for the most part, they're winking at this whole problem. Now, I live in the Midwest. I drive up and down the streets and the highways and the byways of the Midwest, and I see unlicensed vehicles that are basically shouldn't even be on the road. I mean, these things are just a wreck, and you can see they have, bad wheel. I work on cars, so they have bad wheel bearings and they're sagging and everything else. But I made sure that when I took out my insurance out here, that I made sure I had uninsured motorist coverage, because there are so many people out here driving cars and that are unlicensed, unregistered. The people driving them are unlicensed. They aren't even probably members of our society, legal members anyway. And I see this all the time going on, and nothing's being done about it. In fact, in the town where I live, there's a jail. And if they just started to enforce the illegal immigration things, they would fill up a whole section of that jail that is empty right now, and be able to get these people out of our society that should not be there in the first place. They are there illegally. And the reason they're there illegally, because the government officials of my state in particular, and many other states, are winking at the fact that these people are here illegally and being employed by illegal employers who are contributors to their campaign funds, and who also, are upstanding members of the community, quote unquote. And so the police are not even being asked to even ask anyone if they are here as a legal person of the United States. Even if they stop them on a traffic stop, they don't even ask the question. They just let them go. Nobody investigates this. And it's just crazy that this is not being investigated. And it just is, it's a travesty and an injustice in our country that our state and governmental officials are absolutely corrupt with regard to their treatment of illegal employers of illegal immigrants. If they would tackle it at this level throughout our whole country, the illegal immigration thing would go away, because the jobs would dry up, and they would not be able to engage in legal employment with legal companies. Obviously, then a lot of them would go back underground and start, participating in illegal types of activities, which many of them do, by the way. So this is just really something that I see as an important issue. I know a lot of people do not like me speaking on this issue. It's unpopular because it hurts their pocketbooks. But this show is about truth, and it is about injustice. And what you're doing to these people that you're bringing into these countries